Sarah Chen stared at her delivery manifest for the third time, wondering if the quantum display was malfunctioning. The destination coordinates pointed to the Nexus Citadel, a location that had been locked down and impenetrable for over a millennium. Her small courier ship, the Swift Sparrow, drifted in the outer orbit of Meridian Prime while she double-checked the assignment details. "Computer, verify destination coordinates again," she said, adjusting her worn leather flight jacket. The computer chirped back the same results. Nexus Citadel, Level 1 priority delivery. In 15 years of interstellar courier work, Sarah had delivered to some bizarre locations: the methane seas of Europa, the quantum forests of Centauri Beta, even the temporal embassies of the Cronus Belt. But the Nexus Citadel, that was different. The massive fortress repository of the vanished Meridian species had repelled every attempt to enter it since its creators disappeared 12 centuries ago. Military expeditions, scientific missions, even the notorious Void Breakers, all had failed to penetrate its defenses. Yet here she was, with a package no larger than a breadbox, sealed with quantum-locked bands, and marked with symbols she'd never seen before. The manifest listed no sender, just a delivery authorization code that went all the way up to the Galactic Courier Guild's High Council. Sarah ran her fingers through her short black hair, a habit from her academy days that surfaced whenever she faced a particularly challenging delivery. "Well, Sparrow," she said to her ship, "at least we'll have an interesting story for the guild bar tonight when they turn us away." She guided her ship closer to the Citadel, expecting at any moment to encounter the automated defense systems that had destroyed countless vessels over the centuries. The massive structure filled her view screen, a geometric impossibility of overlapping dodecahedrons and spiraling towers that seemed to bend space itself around them. The dark metal surface was etched with lines of soft blue light that pulsed in complex patterns. To her surprise, no weapons activated. No shield barriers appeared. Instead, a landing beacon sprung to life, guiding her to a small platform extending from one of the lower levels. "That's unexpected," Sarah muttered, running every scan she could think of for traps or hostile energy signatures. Everything came back clean. The landing pad was exactly what it appeared to be, a simple docking platform with atmospheric containment fields. She brought the Sparrow down with a precision that had earned her the Guild's Platinum Accuracy rating 3 years running. The package sat in her lap, surprisingly warm to the touch. As soon as her ship touched down, the patterns of light on the Citadel's surface began to shift and flow toward her location. Sarah secured her standard delivery kit to her belt: signature pad, universal translator, and the simple stylus that had logged thousands of successful deliveries. She hesitated, then added her personal shield generator. "Better safe than scattered across multiple dimensions," as the old courier saying went. The platform extended a short walkway to her ship's airlock. More lines of blue light traced their way along its surface, forming intricate patterns that her translator identified as ancient Meridian script before giving up on decoding it. The air that cycled through her lock was perfectly breathable, with a slight scent of ozone and something else. Old books, maybe, or the smell of dust in sunlight. Just another delivery, she reminded herself, though her heart was racing. Get in, get the signature, get out. Simple as that. The walkway led to a massive door that looked like it hadn't opened in centuries. Sarah approached it, package tucked under one arm, and looked for anything resembling a call button or access panel. Finding nothing, she did what any courier would do: she knocked. The sound echoed far deeper than it should have, resonating through the structure like a bell tone. The lines of light around the door began to pulse faster, and a voice spoke, not in her ears, but directly in her mind. "Identify delivery authorization," it said, in a tone that suggested it had been waiting a very, very long time to say those words. Sarah held up her guild ID. Sarah Chen, Platinum Class Courier, authorization code 7-73-9 Alpha Prime. I have a priority delivery for this address. The massive door didn't so much open as dissolve. its surface flowing like liquid metal into the surrounding walls. Beyond it lay a corridor that seemed to extend forever, its walls covered in the same pulsing light patterns as the exterior. Interior, Kuruair Sera Shihin, the voice said. The waiting is fine over. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped through the doorway. As she did, she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't going to be just another delivery. The door reformed behind her with a sound like a satisfied sigh, and the lights in the corridor began to guide her deeper into the legendary fortress that no one had entered in 12 centuries. She checked her chronometer, adjusted her grip on the package, and did what she always did, started walking toward the delivery point. Whatever waited ahead, she had a job to finish. The corridor seemed to reshape itself as Sarah walked, geometric patterns flowing like liquid crystal to form new pathways. Her footsteps echoed against floors that hadn't felt a living presence in over a millennium. The package under her arm pulsed warmly in sync with the Citadel's flowing lights. Your delivery clearance predates all known contact protocols, the voice in her mind said. Sarah noted how it had shifted from its initial booming authority to something almost conversational. I am Sciential, the governing intelligence of this facility. Nice to meet you, Sarah replied, maintaining her professional courier demeanor. I don't suppose you could point me toward the receiving department. A holographic map materialized before her, showing a three-dimensional maze of impossible architecture. A pulsing path highlighted itself, leading toward what appeared to be the Citadel's core. Your package is expected in the central repository, though I must admit I did not expect the bearer to be human. As they spoke, Sarah's translator picked up massive energy surges throughout the facility. The Citadel was waking up, systems dormant for centuries humming to life. Through nearby windows, she could see vast chambers filled with machinery starting to move, like a giant clock beginning to tick again. Is there a problem with me being human? She asked, following the marked path. Her guild training had taught her to keep clients talking. A chatty client was usually a signing client. Unexpected, not problematic, Centennial replied. The Meridian's calculations suggested the bearer would be from a species with significantly more extensive spacefaring experience. Humanity had barely mastered steam power when this package was prepared. Sarah was about to respond when her emergency scanner chirped. Multiple ships were approaching the Citadel at high speed. She recognized the energy signatures: Arcturian warships, Volith research vessels, and at least 3 Quantum Consortium cruisers. It seems your arrival has attracted attention, Centennial observed. The Citadel's awakening will not go unnoticed. The package you carry is more significant than you realize, Courier Chen. The walls around them suddenly blazed with crimson light. Multiple breach attempts detected at external access points, Centennial announced. Other species are attempting to enter now that the primary barriers have been attuned to your presence. Sarah quickened her pace. I don't suppose you could just tell me what's in this package. That would violate approximately 47 different causality protocols, Centennial replied, with what Sarah could have sworn was a touch of amusement. But I can tell you that its delivery will determine the fate of this facility and potentially this entire sector of space. They reached a vast circular chamber where multiple corridors converge. Through towering windows, Sarah could see energy weapons striking the Citadel's outer shields. The attacks were having no effect, but the attempts were growing more coordinated. The Meridians foresaw their own extinction, Centennial explained as they walked. They knew other species would fight over their legacy. This facility contains their entire civilization's knowledge and technology, but they also knew that raw power would never be sufficient to claim it. So they arranged for a delivery, Sarah asked, pieces starting to click into place. They arranged for the right delivery, by the right courier, at the right moment, Centennial corrected. The package you carry contains a quantum-locked initialization key, tuned to activate only when brought here by someone who embodies specific traits. What traits? Persistence, dedication, The willingness to complete a task simply because it was promised, regardless of difficulties or distractions. The Meridians believed these qualities would be essential for any species worthy of inheriting their legacy. The chamber shuddered as a particularly powerful weapon struck the outer defenses. Through the windows, Sarah could see more ships arriving. It seemed like half the galaxy was converging on their location. "The package's security seal is deteriorating," Centennial warned. "We must reach the central repository within the next 15 minutes, or the initialization sequence will fail. The Citadel's fusion core is already becoming unstable without it." Sarah checked her chronometer, calculated the remaining distance shown on the holographic map, and did what any courier would do when faced with a tight deadline. She started to run. Other species would have tried to understand first, Centennial commented as they raced through the transforming corridors. They would have demanded explanations, guarantees, assurances of reward. You simply focus on completing your delivery. "Understanding can wait," Sarah replied, her breath steady from years of rushing to meet deadlines. "Right now, I've got a package to deliver, a signature to collect, and apparently a fusion core to stabilize. One thing at a time." The Citadel's lights pulsed faster as they approached the core, and Sarah could feel the subtle vibration of immense energies building around them. Whatever was about to happen, she intended to fulfill her contract. After all, she had a perfect delivery record to maintain. The central repository loomed before them, a vast spherical chamber suspended in what appeared to be liquid space-time. Streams of energy coursed through transparent conduits, all converging on a pulsing crystalline structure at the chamber's heart. Sarah's package was now vibrating intensely, resonating with the same frequency as the core. "Warning," Centennial announced, its mental voice tinged with urgency. "Core containment at 63% and declining. The initialization sequence must begin within 7 minutes." Sarah surveyed the chamber, her courier's eye for detail, noting every potential path and obstacle. "I'm guessing it's not as simple as just handing over the package." The Meridians believed that the method of delivery was as important as the delivery itself, Centennial replied. The AI projected a series of floating platforms into existence, creating a precarious path to the core. The courier must navigate the quantum variance field while maintaining perfect equilibrium with the package. Any deviation will trigger a containment failure. Through the chamber's transparent walls, Sarah could see the gathering fleet of alien ships. Their weapons had stopped firing, likely realizing that the Citadel's destabilizing core posed a greater threat than any external attack could achieve. "Multiple species are requesting emergency communication," Centennial reported. "The Arcturians are offering military protection. The Volith Conclave promises unrestricted access to their scientific archives. The Quantum Consortium suggests a power-sharing arrangement." Sarah was already checking her boot's gravity controls. "But none of them are actually offering to help stop the core from destabilizing, are they?" "Correct. They seek to negotiate terms while the crisis escalates. A very political approach to an immediate problem." A holographic timer appeared, showing just over 6 minutes remaining. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped onto the first platform. It shifted under her weight, responding to the quantum fluctuations surrounding the core. The package's vibrations intensified. "The Meridian's predictions are proving accurate," Centennial observed as Sarah carefully made her way forward. Other species would attempt to analyze, negotiate, or force their way through this situation. You simply adapt and proceed. Sarah concentrated on her footing, using skills honed from thousands of deliveries in extreme conditions. When you've had to make deliveries during a solar storm on Mercury, or through the living storms of Jupiter, you learn to focus on what matters. Right now, what matters is getting this package where it needs to go. A sudden surge of energy caused several platforms to phase out of existence momentarily. Sarah jumped, tucked, and rolled onto a stable section, keeping the package perfectly level. Her heart was pounding, but her grip remained steady. "Core containment at 47%, Centennial updated. The Citadel's automated systems are detecting a cascade of failures throughout the primary support structure. The chamber shuddered. Through the walls, Sarah could see several alien ships attempting to dock with emergency airlocks. Others were evacuating to a safe distance. The timer showed 4 minutes remaining. "You know," Sarah said, leaping to another platform as the previous one dissolved. "In courier training, they teach us that every package has a story. Some are obvious. Medicine for the sick, spare parts for a critical system. Others seem meaningless until they reach their destination." She paused to steady herself as the quantum field fluctuated again. "What's this package's story?" "The package contains a quantum-encoded revelation," Centennial replied. "The Meridians discovered something profound about the nature of space, time, and consciousness, something they believed could only be safely shared with a species that understood the value of reliable delivery." Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she jumped to the final platform. They wanted someone who would carry the message without opening it. Someone who'd focus on getting it there instead of trying to peek inside. Precisely. The Meridians believed that wisdom is found not just in knowledge, but in knowing when to simply complete the task at hand. The core's crystalline structure was now only meters away, its surface crackling with barely contained energy. The package was vibrating so intensely that Sarah's arms were going numb from holding it. "Core containment at 31%. Centennial announced. "You have 2 minutes to complete the initialization sequence. The package must be placed within the resonance chamber, but the quantum field at this distance will tear apart anything moving slower than human neural response speed." Sarah flexed her fingers, sized up the distance, and thought about all the impossible deliveries she'd completed over the years. "So I just need to be quick." To survive the quantum field density at this range, you would need to calculate quantum fluctuations that even our most advanced systems cannot process in real time. "Or," Sarah said, shifting her weight, "I could just trust my instincts and make the delivery. Sometimes the best calculation is no calculation at all." With that, she moved, letting 15 years of courier reflexes guide her through the quantum storm between her and the core. The package left her hands at exactly the right moment, sliding perfectly into the resonance chamber as if it had been rehearsing this delivery for 1,000 years. The timer stopped at 43 seconds remaining. The core's chaotic energy patterns suddenly synchronized, the entire chamber humming with renewed purpose. Sarah allowed herself to exhale. "Initialization sequence activated," Centennial announced, its mental voice carrying a note of what might have been relief. "Core stabilization beginning. Though I feel compelled to note that your method violated approximately 37 different laws of quantum physics. But did you get your delivery?" Sarah asked, brushing off her jacket. "Indeed. Would you like to sign for it?" The stabilized core bathed the chamber in a soft, golden light. As Sarah's delivery pad recorded Centennial's signature, a complex pattern of quantum states that made her translator give up in protest, the citadel began to transform around them. Walls shifted like liquid metal, revealing vast archives and laboratories that had been sealed for millennia. "Processing initialization sequence," Centennial announced. "The Meridian's final message is being decoded." The chamber filled with holographic displays, showing images of the long-vanished Meridians, tall, ethereal beings of crystalline structure and flowing energy. Their civilization had achieved what many thought impossible, transcending the physical plane while leaving their knowledge behind for others to follow. They didn't go extinct, Sarah realized, watching the recordings. They evolved. Correct, Centennial confirmed, but they recognized that forcing other species to follow their path would be catastrophic. Evolution must be earned, not given. Hence, this test. The alien fleet outside had grown quiet, their ships holding position as the Citadel's purpose finally revealed itself. Representatives from dozens of species were requesting permission to dock, their messages ranging from diplomatic overtures to outright demands for access. "The package," Sarah said, watching as it dissolved into pure energy within the core. "It wasn't just a key, was it?" The chamber's displays shifted, showing complex mathematical formulae and diagrams that seemed to bend reality around them. It was a proof, Centennial explained, a demonstration that the simplest solution is often the correct one. The Meridians discovered that the universe's greatest mysteries could be solved not through force or even intelligence alone, but through understanding the value of perspective. Sarah watched as the core began transmitting data to the surrounding archives, awakening ancient systems, and they needed someone who wouldn't overthink it to deliver that message. Precisely. The Meridians foresaw that advanced species would become trapped by their own complexity, unable to see simple truths through their sophisticated theories in politics. Centennial's mental voice carried a note of satisfaction. They predicted that a younger species, one still capable of direct action and clear purpose, would be necessary to unlock their legacy. The Citadel shuddered as its final transformations began. Walls became transparent, revealing laboratories where impossible technologies waited to be understood. Libraries of knowledge stretched into infinity, each chamber containing secrets that could revolutionize civilization. But it was the core chamber that drew Sarah's attention, where a simple message now floated in every known language. The universe's greatest truth is that there are no shortcuts. Progress comes one step at a time, one delivery at a time, one achievement at a time. The other species, Sarah noted, they're all still waiting for permission to enter. They are debating the diplomatic, military, and philosophical implications of this development, Centennial confirmed. Meanwhile, human ships are already responding to the Citadel's open signal. Your species appears to have a remarkable capacity for taking the initiative. Indeed, Sarah could see several human vessels approaching. Not warships or research vessels, but ordinary transport ships, mining craft, and even a few courier vessels like her own. They weren't waiting for formal protocols or official permission. They saw a job that needed doing and came to do it. The Meridian's gift cannot simply be taken or studied, Centennial explained. It must be earned through action, through the willingness to move forward without absolute certainty. Your delivery was not just a test. It was a demonstration of the principle that will unlock everything they left behind. Sarah watched as the first human ships began docking, their crews probably as confused as she had been but ready to help anyway. We're not the most advanced species, she said. Probably not the wisest either. But we know how to get things done. That, Centennial replied, is exactly why you succeeded where others failed. The Meridians believed that the species worthy of their legacy would be the one that understood that grand achievements begin with simple actions. The chamber hummed with energy as more of the Citadel's systems came online. Sarah's delivery pad beeped, marking the job as completed. But as she watched humans and aliens beginning to work together to understand this new discovery, she realized that this delivery was really just the beginning. So, she said, checking her pad schedule, any other packages need delivering while I'm here. 3 months after the delivery that changed the galaxy, Sarah Chen stood in the Citadel's observation deck, watching ships from 100 different species come and go. What had once been an impenetrable fortress was now the busiest port in known space, though not in the way anyone had expected. The Meridians' legacy hadn't been weapons or power sources, it had been understanding. Their technologies, their discoveries, their very method of evolution, all hinged on a principle so simple that advanced civilizations had spent millennia overlooking it. Progress comes from doing, not just knowing. Delivery for the Xenobiology lab, a young courier announced, hurrying past with a container of specimens. Sarah smiled, remembering her own first days here. The Citadel had become the galaxy's premier research center, but it operated on distinctly human principles: roll up your sleeves and get to work. The integration protocols continue to exceed expectations. Centennial's familiar voice echoed in her mind. The AI had adapted to human directness, no longer speaking in riddles, though some species are still struggling with the concept of learning by doing. Sarah watched an Arcturian battlecruiser carefully maneuvering alongside human mining ships, its crew learning to work with species they once considered beneath their notice. They're adapting. Turns out when you take away the option to solve problems with force or politics, everyone has to learn new ways to work together. The Citadel's great libraries and laboratories were open to all, but with a catch that Sarah's delivery had demonstrated. Knowledge alone wasn't enough. Every discovery required action, participation, and most importantly, cooperation. The Meridians had created a system that could only be understood by doing, not just studying. Your species has proven remarkably adept at facilitating this transition, Centennial observed. Humans appear to instinctively understand the balance between thinking and doing. Below them, in one of the larger chambers, a team of Volith scientists was working alongside human mechanics to understand a particularly complex piece of Meridian technology. The Volith provided the theoretical framework, the humans provided the practical approach, and together they were making breakthroughs that neither could have achieved alone. "We've had a lot of practice," Sarah replied. "Humanity spent most of its history just figuring things out as we went along. Sometimes the best way to learn is to just start working and adjust as you go." Her delivery pad chirped. Another job, this time to one of the outer research stations where quantum consortium philosophers were attempting to recreate the Meridian's evolutionary process. They'd finally agreed to try it the human way. Step by step, learning from each attempt, instead of seeking an instant transformation. The Meridians would be pleased, Centennial said. They believe that true evolution requires both wisdom and willingness to act. Your species provides a vital catalyst for others to find that balance. Sarah checked her ship's pre-flight checklist, preparing for her next delivery. The Swift Sparrow had been upgraded with some Meridian tech, but she'd kept its essential nature, a simple courier ship, doing its job one delivery at a time. Did they really predict all of this? She asked, gesturing at the bustling activity throughout the Citadel. Humans being the ones to unlock their legacy. They predicted that a species would emerge that understood the value of simple actions, Centennial replied. One that could see that delivering a package, solving a problem, or helping others were not mundane tasks, but the very essence of progress. As if to emphasize the point, a group of junior couriers rushed past, carrying supplies to various labs. They were a mixed group, humans, aliens, even a few artificial beings, all wearing the Guild's uniform and focused on their deliveries. The galaxy's most advanced research facility, running on the principles of a courier service. The Meridian's greatest discovery, Centennial continued, was that civilization advances not through grand gestures or brilliant theories alone, but through millions of small dedicated actions, through individuals willing to complete their tasks, help others, and keep moving forward. Sarah shouldered her delivery bag, checked her manifest, and headed toward her ship. The Citadel's lights pulsed warmly as she walked, its patterns now a familiar greeting rather than an ancient mystery. "You know," she said to Centennial, "for all their advanced technology and evolutionary transcendence, the Meridians basically discovered something every courier learns their first day on the job." "And what is that, Courier Chen?" "The best way to get something done is to stop talking about it and start doing it." She grinned, one delivery at a time. The Citadel hummed with activity around her, species that had once been enemies now working side by side, ancient mysteries being unraveled through cooperation and practical effort, and at the heart of it all, the simple principle that had unlocked everything. The willingness to take the next step, whatever it might be. Sarah Chen, the courier who had changed the galaxy by simply doing her job, boarded her ship and prepared for her next delivery. After all, those packages weren't going to deliver themselves. And sometimes the smallest actions created the biggest changes. Courier Sarah Chen, departing for Outer Station 5. She announced to traffic control, "Just another delivery." But she smiled as she said it, knowing that in this new galaxy, there was no such thing as just a delivery anymore. Every action, no matter how small, was part of something greater, humanity's gift to the stars, teaching the galaxy how to move forward, one step at a time.